befell.ca, and this is the Community Roundup, which is sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. And I'm joined today with Ryan Harvey with the City of Fort St. John. Ryan, my utmost condolences.
Thank you, Spencer.
We are in mourning. The Fort St. John hot tub is no more. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Ryan, we are currently sitting in said hot tub. You can't see, and I'm not going to angle it down because it was hard enough to get the tripod set up, but it's looking pretty gnarly. What happened here?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination of quite a few things, but ultimately what happened is the more investigative work we do, the more that we uncover, and the bigger the issue becomes, and it's just not feasible to continue chasing repairs that may or may not work.
Gotcha. I mean, that sounds like investigative work. So let's talk specifically. We're looking at the bottom here. There were some issues kind of with the setup, right? So I've heard word on the street is that the drawings of the hot tub were not accurate to what it was actually underneath the hot tub.
Yeah, so in any construction projects, there's of course the drawings from the architect or the engineer, but then there's also things that happen. And so there's a set of drawings called the as-built drawings.
Right.
So for whatever reason, those as-built drawings aren't available. And so where they were digging this last week, according to the drawings, there should be nothing there. But yet we know that there's several pipes, several electrical lines, several pieces there that are there. And so it's certainly a challenge on that front. The other big challenge with everything is everything's encased in concrete. So the pool deck, the piping runs through the pool deck. And so now if you were to build a pool, you would build a corridor under the pool deck, right, where this piping and stuff runs through.
We didn't do that in 96.
We didn't. And so it's certainly been a challenge on that front.
Gotcha.
And because there's no as-built drawings, we also don't know what else is there. And so as we continue to expand away from the hot tub, there's nothing to say that we couldn't, clip something else and all of a sudden have, 100,000 gallons of water from the hot lap pool
just start flowing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's probably best to wash your hands at that point.
Absolutely.
So, my question here is, there have been talks about getting a new pool facility. Obviously, that was a big thing last year. Are we going to take what we learned here and apply that to the next facility?
Absolutely. So I think that's an important piece, is always to learn from some of the challenges. This pool started out as a saltwater pool. So instead of chlorine, it was salt. And so there was certainly some pieces that had to be dealt with during that transition period as well. Obviously, we know that salt and metal don't work very well together. And so there is a significant amount of metal in the building. Certainly the advancements in technology, in building practices, in the materials that can be used has advanced. And so that's certainly something that will be considered as a new facility gets towards fruition, I guess.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So there's a steering committee that Mr. Trevor Bolin is spearheading. What was heard from residents, and what are people wanting out of this new facility?
Yeah, so it's important to kind of go back first before. So the engagement around a new facility started in 2018, was paused for a little bit with COVID, and then
much like everything under the sun.
Yes, unfortunately, and so in 2022 it came back with vengeance, and we heard a lot from people about the requirements of what a new facility looks like, and that is could be just a pool, could be more than a pool. So they're looking at field houses and gymnasium space and all of those pieces as well. And so that's kind of where the feasibility study's at now, is what makes sense to include in a facility. Further to that though is, how does it all get funded? Who's included? So currently the North Peace Leisure Pool is owned by the Peace River Regional District and operated by the City of Fort St. John.
Right.
It's included, the District of Taylor wasn't a part of it. So the pool commission, the current pool commission, is made up of representatives from the Regional District and from the City of Fort St. John.
Right.
if that were to change into a new facility and the District of Taylor came on board, there's different pieces that have to be involved in there. So the feasibility study is really the first step to take what the community heard and what they want and translate that into a feasible plan that then the independent boards or councils of each local government can vote on and confirm whether they want to be included in the project or they don't.
Gotcha. And what's the kind of timeline for that?
Yeah, so that work is actively happening.
Okay.
Right now, there's no definitive timeline on it. There's also no definitive decisions on it. And so it hasn't been decided whether it'll be a 25 meter or a 50 meter pool. It hasn't been decided if it's a field house or and a gymnasium space along with the pool. All of that stuff is still on the table, and all of that stuff would go out to the public through a borrowing question such as a referendum.
Gotcha. And there have been, I mean, there's a lot of things that people say about this facility. One is that it was too small when it was built in '96. Is that something that you've been considering because Fort St. John's population has been shifting and growing? And I know it kind of ebbs and flows, but...
Absolutely. So it's important that, we're looking at a facility even right now that's close to 30 years old. And so we want to make sure that the next facility can handle 30, 40, 50 years of use, right? And so making sure that we know what those requirements are and going forward, what is it that the community needs and can support now and into the future.
Absolutely. And I think, the question that's top of mind for everyone is, will the facility have a hot tub?
Well, I mean, that would be certainly one of the pieces that has come out of the engagement is people would like to see a hot tub back. We fully understand that they're well used. We understand the disappointment around the current facility and not having a hot tub. It's obviously been a couple of years with the hot tub out of use, and repairs trying to be made and some promising pieces, and then just to find another break down the road. And so certainly a piece that is as disappointing as it is not to kind of throw in the towel on it. It's also a bit, it also feels good to kind of put it to bed and understand that, we did what we could and made sure that every tool that we had available, all the specialized contractors that we utilized, did everything that they could to investigate this further and try and get the hot tub back open, and it's just not feasible.
She's at rest now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add a little bit about, the leisure pool, the work that's being done to kind of plan for the next one?
So a couple things on the current facility. Obviously, without the hot tub, which hasn't been in use for quite a while, there's still lots of stuff going on, and the recreation staff here at the pool have planned a whole bunch of fun activities for the summer, and so be sure to check out the recreation guide at fortstjohn.ca for all of those fun details. On the replacement project, continue to have a look at the Peace River Regional District's Have Your Say page for updates on that project, and hopefully there'll be some good news in the near future.
Fingers crossed, for sure. One thing I wanted to ask you about that's kind of adjacent to not the leisure pool but recreation is the upgrades that were done on the Kids Arena Field House, I believe.
Yeah.
What's the feedback been like on those?
Yeah, I think overall it's taken the facility from a converted hockey rink into a field house, and so it looks really good in there. The bathrooms have been upgraded, the meeting rooms are upgraded. It's looking really good in there, and we've gotten some pretty good feedback on that so far.
That's excellent.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, some good news there. If you want to learn more, head over to the City of Fort St. John website, and then make sure that you're engaged and you're making sure your voice is heard, because it's never fun when it's not, and then we don't,
Absolutely.
All the fun thing. You can only shout into the void of Facebook for so long. Thank you so much, Ryan, for sitting with me in what's left of this hot tub. It's I never got to use it, but it's sad to see it go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the Community Roundup, which is sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. Huge shout out to Ryan for schlepping over to the leisure pool and to sit down and have a conversation. It's a tough one to have.
It is.
All right. This has been the Community Roundup, sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. I'm Spencer with energeticcity.ca, and I'll see you next time.